Hello and welcome to another video. In this video I would like to speak about disempowerment and empowerment and the different aspects which relate to a state of disempowerment or a state of empowerment. So first I'll start with disempowerment. What causes disempowerment? Well, one of the things that causes disempowerment is fear. Another thing that causes disempowerment is ignorance. Because when we're ignorant, we can easily be controlled. And when we live in fear, that's naturally a disempowering vibration. Another disempowering vibration is not trusting in ourselves. Not trusting ourselves, such as when we rely completely on external information. Now I'm not saying that it's not wise to watch videos of other people with information or read books with information. What I'm talking about is when we rely completely on external information. We should rely on ourselves first and foremost, trusting ourselves, because the end result of the ascension is to have complete self-trust. If we was fully aware as divine humans, angelic humans, then we would not need any external information whatsoever, because we would be completely activated within ourselves. Our higher self would be integrated into the form completely. So that's a pretty big one, to not trust in ourselves. Another disempowering state is guilt. I think guilt is probably one of the most disempowering, actually, which ties in with forgiveness. Oh no. Forgiveness is actually an empowering vibration. Because forgiveness is the empowering equivalent of guilt. You could say that. Because guilt is like, yeah, you feel guilty and you're not forgiving yourself, or you're not forgiving someone else. But when you don't forgive someone else, that's like holding a grudge. Because having a grudge, that's another disempowering vibration. Grudges. And another one is shame. Shame. In society, we've been brainwashed to be ashamed of our body. For example, if we get naked and we walk about on the street naked, then people are going to look at us funny, like we are strange, and we will even get arrested for it, for being nude, for being natural. That's how crazy this whole reality is. We can get arrested for being natural. It makes no sense, does it? And that's because of shame, because our society is built on shame, because it's our body. So we need to remember and begin to love our body instead of being ashamed of it. So fear, ignorance, not trusting in self, guilt, grudges, shame, blame. Blame is a big one. When we blame others, that means we are being victims, because we're not because we're just pointing the fingers, aren't we? We're blaming people, and it doesn't make sense. If we want to be empowered, then we've got to let go of the blame. Blame. What else is there? Blame. Feeling sorry for ourselves. Feeling sorry for ourselves. Self-pity. I should have written self-pity, shouldn't I? Would have been easier. Don't know if you could see that. Sorry for. What else is there? Self-hate, that's a big one. Self-hate. There's quite a few more, but I think I'll leave that with the disempowerment section. Now we'll go on to the empowerment section. We've got forgiveness. Forgiveness, this means that everything we've done in our lives up to now, we can consciously forgive ourselves for it. We can let it all go. And everything anyone else has ever done to us, we can consciously forgive them as well, no matter what it was. And because when we don't forgive, we're just carrying baggage on us. We're weighing ourselves down, and it's just making us suffer. So forgiveness is really a big one towards empowerment. One of the biggest, actually. Acceptance. 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 I don't know if I've spelt that right, but it doesn't really matter. Acceptance. Well, it does what it says on the tin, really. Acceptance, that means to accept ourselves and accept others for the way they are. Accept people's ignorance, accept our own ignorance. Yeah, so that's acceptance. Another one is surrender. Now, surrender. This is the paradox, because as we surrender what we thought we were, as we surrender all of that, we become more, we gain more, we become more empowered. When we resist, which is another state of disempowerment, resistance. When I spell these words, I never know whether an A or an E goes there, because I'm not very good at spelling, but I don't think it matters. The spelling doesn't matter, does it? Because everyone's going to know what that means anyway, whether it's spelled properly, correctly or not. I'm not really a big person on grammar. I don't really care whether my words are spelled correctly. As long as I'm getting the point across, that's all that matters. So resistance is the opposite to surrender, and resistance creates disempowerment. Surrender creates empowerment. Self-love. Self-love. Self-love, to love ourselves. We've been taught that self-love is selfishness. It's egoic, but it's not. Until we can love ourselves, we can't love anyone else truly. We can't love anyone else properly if we do not love ourselves first. It starts with us. We need to heal it all within us before we can love anyone else properly. So, self-love. A great affirmation to do with self-love is to look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that you love yourself. You don't have to say it out loud, you can say it in your head while looking at yourself, looking at your own eyes in the mirror. Because then you're facing yourself directly at the mirror. There's no hiding, is there? There's no deception involved. It's straight, real talk. It's being real with yourself. And that is a very powerful technique, and I recommend it to everyone. To all who are watching this video, look in the mirror and say empowering things to yourself, like I love you, I accept you, I forgive you, and just say things like that. It's really empowering. What else is an empowering vibration? The funny thing is, a lot of the different states come out of these here. These are like the four main states, and then there's loads of smaller states that come out of these. What others is there? I'm trying to think what else there is. Self-trust. Self-trust. Self-trust is like, instead of looking outside for the truth, we turn around and go within ourselves, and then we begin to trust in ourselves for the truth, rather than relying outside of ourselves, which is that one there. Not trusting in ourselves is relying outside of ourselves, and this is what most of religions have done. This is what they're built for, to stop us from trusting in ourselves, to keep us focusing outside, so they can dictate what's true to us through our ignorance and through not trusting in ourselves. I wonder if it ever says in the Bible to trust in yourself. I'm not sure if it does, but I doubt it does, because that's the main purpose of Christianity and Islam and other such religions. The main purpose is to get us to not trust in ourselves. Empowering. Seeing all as